Hi everyone, it's Miss Giovanna again, and today we are going to do lesson 7, myths and stereotypes about HIV infection. So, per usual, we're going to start with the short video, and then we'll get the ball rolling after that, okay?
Watch out, guys. These two might give you AIDS if they touch you.
Did you hear that? What did he say?
Don't worry about it. I'll see you after gym class.
Someone better clean that shower with bleach. We might get AIDS.
Dude, what is your problem?
You're so out and proud about being gay, but everyone knows gays have AIDS. Just keep your hands to yourself.
Okay, so this one is a short video, but right off the bat, we are presented with a stereotype, right? Stereotype regarding HIV and those it can affect. So the stereotype here is that HIV affects people who are gay, which, like I said, it's a stereotype. It is not true. HIV can affect people from all walks of life. There is no one specific group that HIV primarily targets. So what are today's learning objectives? So today's learning objectives are identify myths or stereotypes regarding persons infected with HIV, describe the impact of HIV/AIDS on individuals and their family life, and express concern for persons with disabilities or illness, including those infected with HIV. So today's evidence of achievement. You participated in the lesson activities, you completed your lesson worksheets, you made a commitment to show compassion for people with serious illnesses. Again, all your worksheets and activities will be on your Google Classrooms. And for today, you have, I believe it's 4 or 5 worksheets to do. So we are going to hear from a few people who are living with HIV so that we can kind of get a better understanding of what it's like living with HIV and what people kind of go through when they initially hear that they have HIV.
I can just remember being in disbelief and just shaking my head no and screaming and saying, like, maybe you have the wrong blood test, maybe you pulled somebody else's labs by mistake. I feel more love and joy since I've opened up more about my status. What I enjoyed most about doing hair is the gratification behind how people felt afterwards. It just felt so good. They felt refreshed, and I felt like it's been more rewarding to know that I've impacted my clients' lives in many ways, because I found out that they've had their own stories about family members or themselves being HIV positive. I think people take more pride in getting their hair done when they come to me than they did before. My name is Masanya. I am 28 years old, and I have been HIV positive for 4 years.
I did have a fear because I just didn't want to know. I didn't know what my life would be like post-diagnosis. I remember walking into the room, they gave me the HIV test, and it came back positive. And I just sat there. I was so numb. No tears would fall. I was emotionless. I don't remember hearing anything. I don't remember seeing anybody. I just remember internalizing this diagnosis. It was something that I kind of had to just deal with on my own because I couldn't disclose to anyone. I didn't have the language to disclose. Poetry is my safe space. I can just go into myself and just really let everything that I really don't have the language to articulate out on paper. He has love and affection, no longer a fiend to, but here's to life, here's to love, here's to getting everything you never got enough of. I want to live, and I want to live, and I want to be healthy, and I want to give back. I wasn't given this disease to be quiet and sit down and be non-threatening. No, I was given this disease in a way that allowed me to broadly and boldly be who I am and say that you can live and you can survive, and not only survive, but you can thrive. My name's Guy. I'm 29 years old, and I've been HIV positive for 8 years.
My partner and I, we decided to go get tested, and they took longer than, I'd expected. The lady, she had finally called my name and she had asked me to come in there. And then she was like, do you know that you have HIV? And at that particular moment, it was like the room started literally spinning. So I was like, there's just no way. This has to be wrong. I just could not hold it in. It needed to come out one way or another. So I expressed it via music. Music's always been an outlet for me. Dealing with HIV and dealing with this has definitely changed my whole aspect of music and how I even approach a lot of different things. I want to travel across the world and not only share my music, but also share my story. I did get diagnosed with HIV, but I did not let it stop me and I did not let it defeat me, and I'm not going to or will ever. I want to tell anybody else that has the same diagnosis that you can do it too. It does not stop where it starts. Starting is the beginning. My name is Dakota. I'm 28 years old, and I've had HIV for the last 3 years now.
Pre-diagnosis, I didn't have much of a drive or an overarching passion about what I wanted to do. And I had recently been tested. I made it a personal policy to get HIV and STD testing every 3 to 6 months. Turned out positive. So I was at my friend's house, and that was kind of a moment of brief devastation. But I was very fortunate and lucky in the fact that I had an excellent support system, and I was able to quickly rise to my feet. That day, I went into the health department and met with a social worker and connected myself with care. You hear this from a lot of people who've been diagnosed, that HIV has given them a new purpose, and it's given them a drive to go further in their lives and accomplish things that they didn't think they could. And I think that is very true in my case. Playing viola allows me to release a part of myself that sometimes gets a little too buried in day-to-day thought and processes of work. It is through and through nothing but a creative outlet. Fundamentally, we all want to go to the same place, and that is to enjoy ourselves. And I think there's something very wonderful about working with people in that environment. We're all adding different pieces of the puzzle to make something that's incredibly dynamic and interesting. My name is Devin, and I've been positive for almost 3 years.
I was in a habit of getting tested regularly, but at that time I was still young, immature, and careless, like a lot of the youth are. And I felt invincible, and I thought it would never happen to me. And besides being angry at myself, I was very hopeful. I knew that there were treatments out there. Something that I want to do moving forward is continue helping those who are afraid to come out. HIV stigma is still a huge barrier when it comes to newly diagnosed people. And I know it's very scary because I've been there before. And I know that with support, it's going to be easier moving forward. I want to be the shoulder they cry on. I want to be the hand that they hold when they go to their first appointment or when they're going to start medication. I want to have that conversation that I had with my peer educators and with medical providers, and just give them the confidence booster that they need in order for them to get back in the horse and start their life. Hi, my name is Yuri. I'm 29 years old, and I've been HIV positive for 12 years.
I had just left a job to relocate to a new city. And as soon as I got to the new city, I was hit with the bombshell. And when it came in and gave me that news, I didn't give a response. I didn't cry, I didn't holler, I just stared. Everything, all of the emotions that you go through getting a diagnosis, because it's just like going through a grief process, because I'm grieving that life I used to know to this new life that I have to learn how to live. And I met other people that were already living with HIV, and they were thriving and welcomed me in. I facilitate to get people to memorialize their loved ones. The AIDS quilt is just a big memorial. People started putting HIV on the back burner, but we want to bring it to light that it hasn't gone anywhere, and we still need to keep researching and finding a cure. The ultimate goal that I hope we can add that last panel and say the end to AIDS. It is no more. My name is Stephanie, and I've been living with HIV for 18 years now.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so a few takeaways from that one video. I'm sure you all have a lot of things kind of running through your head on what you heard. But a few things, you know, from what some of the people mentioned was that it's definitely something scary, right? When somebody first finds out that they're HIV positive, especially because there are so many misconceptions about what it is and how it affects a person. When somebody first finds out, it can definitely be scary, right? And from all of the people that were talking, we also heard the message that it's, in a sense, empowering, right? Once you get the resources you need and you're like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I know where to get help. It's empowering, right? That's what a lot of the people in the video were expressing. Also, they mentioned the importance of support system, right? One of the young men on there mentioned, you know, luckily they made it a routine to go get tested, and then they also had supportive friends. So having an importance in having a support system in general, not only for situations like these, but in general, a support system, whether that's your friends, your family, is very important, right? Because when things happen in life, you always need somebody there to kind of guide you, or at the very least to just hear you out. So the importance of having a support system, as well as stigma, right? So along with being scary to first find out somebody has HIV, I feel like a lot of the fear that comes with that is because of the stigma that people don't know what HIV is. So the stigma that they're going to judge a person. So making sure, well, at least from what we heard, making sure that we're not perpetuating stereotypes or, you know, adding stigma to the idea of what somebody with HIV is. And overall, from what we saw through the rainbow of people that were on the video, HIV does not go after a specific group, okay? HIV can go after any group. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, where you are in your social status. HIV, if you are engaging in risky behaviors, then HIV is something that can affect your life as well, okay? So, so we're going to do this next activity. It's called It's All Relative. Ideally for this activity, we would have been in a classroom moving around. Since that's not the case, we tweaked it a little so that you all could do it online. So what we're going to be doing is you are going to fill out the worksheet on your Google Classroom that says It's All Relative, and basically just write, I believe it's 3 to 5 sentences, a short paragraph essentially, you know, answering that 2 questions that are on there. And that's basically it. And for this, please make sure you are putting yourself in a situation where it's a what if situation. So what if somebody in your family came to you and, you know, told you that they're HIV positive? In that situation, what would you tell them? So please make sure you answer it in that sense. Again, I believe it's 3 to 5 sentences. And think about, while you're responding, that you should not feel superior to a family with an HIV infection, because like I mentioned, HIV can happen to anybody. And also being sensitive that that's having somebody a family member with HIV or another serious illness is already a reality to many families. So being sensitive to the idea that we're not disrespectful, we're not perpetuating stereotypes, because some people are actually currently living with this. So even if it's not happening in your family, in your life directly, being sensitive to the fact that some people are already learning to deal with this reality. Overall, compassionate, right? Be compassionate with each other. So let's watch the second half of the video and then see if the group of guys in the film learn anything, or if stereotypes are continued to be perpetuated.
Dude, chill out. First of all, being HIV positive doesn't mean you have AIDS. And secondly, it has nothing to do with being gay, straight, or bi. Educate yourself.
Man, just drop it because he's right. Any of us can get HIV if we do those, what do the teachers call it? High-risk behaviors. Like unprotected sex, dirty needles, and all that stuff.
What? You got a problem with me now?
Dude, this alpha male bully thing is old, and saying gays have AIDS is straight up ignorant.
Look, if you can be a real man and apologize, the drama can stop right now. It won't leave this room.
Yeah, whatever. It's cool. I'm sorry, man.
Okay. So what we saw in the second half, we also actually have a worksheet in Google Classroom where you can write the response. But in the second half of the video, what we saw was putting it down, one, bullying, right? And two, the idea that it's okay to continue sharing stereotypes that are not true and also harmful to people. So at the end of this, we did get a happy ending. It was resolved. But for you all, just keeping in mind not to continue giving life to those stereotypes that harm people. So how did the story end? We kind of went over it a little bit. We are going to be doing a quiz. So the quiz is also in your Google Classrooms. Feel free to jot down the answers right now, or you can come back and complete it later. So the first question is, all people who get HIV will die from the infection. That is false. There is medication that people can take if they are HIV positive in order to live a long and healthy life. Being infected with HIV can cause emotional, social, and physical problems. That is true, right? Based off of what those folks shared on the video, finding out that they were HIV positive took a toll on all four of the things mentioned right now. So they took an emotional toll, social, and physical toll on them. Families facing a serious medical problem may need help and support from their friends and neighbors. This is also true, right? In this case, we're talking about HIV, but in general as well, people who are facing serious problems might start to feel isolated, right? And you never want somebody to feel lonely or that they don't have a support system when they're already facing something that's scary. So again, the importance of having support from friends, family, and neighbors. If a person is infected with HIV, it is always his or her own fault. And that is false. Again, if somebody is positive for HIV, it doesn't mean that is their fault. HIV can be spread in different ways, and sometimes it can happen with people not knowing. Okay, so this is part of your reflection for lesson 7 worksheet. So what is the most important or interesting thing you learned in today's lesson? How committed are you to not stereotyping and labeling other people? Reviewing, or actually not this part. This is something that you could do to kind of have that conversation with somebody, a trusted adult in your life. You can ask them how they would feel if they found out that a friend or family member was infected with HIV and what they would do. And this is actually, a good conversation to have. It could also help you answer the worksheet for your Google Classroom, where it says it's all relative. maybe having that conversation with a trusted adult can help you answer that as well. So that is the end of the lesson for today. Thank you all for participating, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.